It is an immense challenge to produce a wildlife film in the remote Arctic. This is a frozen wasteland where temperatures can drop to 40 degrees below zero. But the bigger problem is that the ice is melting faster than anyone predicted. The Arctic is warming twice as fast as the rest of the planet. What does this mean for the giants of the ice? The mighty polar bear, the massive walrus, the awe-inspiring snowy owl, the elusive narwhal. They are all struggling to survive as their world literally melts before their eyes. ULLC, what these ice giants have to do to stay alive when I narrate this episode of Animal World's Arctic Meltdown. In the remote Arctic, far from human habitation, there is a battlefield where polar bears hunt ringed seals.
But lately, the seals have the advantage because the ice has melted into a slushy mess.
It's spring in the Arctic and the bears are hungry after months without food. They need the fat of the seals to regain their strength.
But it's very difficult to hunt when the ice breaks under your paws.
Here, the bears must choose between spending their energy catching fish or waiting and hoping a seal stumbles onto the ice. Some days, the bears don't catch anything at all. And if a storm comes in and freezes the surface of the ocean, things get even worse because the fish disappear and the seals move further away. On this day, though, luck is with this female polar bear and her 2 cubs. She catches a young seal. Now she will have something to eat, and so will her cubs. After all, she must feed them as well as make enough milk to keep them alive. But as satisfying as this sight is, it makes me sad because the ice where this hunt took place was once a solid frozen platform. Instead of trudging in knee-deep water, the bears could have walked on top of the ice. And they could have stood up on the ice to catch their prey instead of having to swim after it. But times are changing in the Arctic, and the bears must adapt or die. Sadly, more and more bears are choosing to die. Polar bears are dying of starvation at unprecedented rates. This one decided to walk into the water and drown rather than try to find food. In a few weeks, this male polar bear went from being in good condition to starving to death. A hiker spotted him and waited around 4 hours hoping he would recover. But this bear had no interest in berries or fish. He just wanted to end his life. As we watch, another bear tries to climb out of the water. It's too exhausted to continue its search for food. It collapses and never gets up again. And a third bear simply gives up and lies down on its back, not caring that it will die. The ice is melting away, and so is their future. If the ice goes, the polar bears will be forced to migrate south, which means crossing hundreds of miles of open ocean.
It's a journey most of them won't survive.
Meanwhile, a group of scientists are drilling deep into the ice. They're looking for a record of the past climate hidden inside the ice core. By measuring the gases trapped inside ancient snowflakes, they can determine how warm it was when that snow fell. They can also use the dust in the ice to work out where the wind blew from and how fast it was going. This data helps us understand what has caused the ice to melt. And the answer is human activity. Humans burning fossil fuels are causing the planet to warm and the Arctic to melt. To understand the impact this is having on the animals, we must first look at where the Arctic is heading. Scientists at the University of Washington have developed a computer program that uses historical weather data to predict what the climate will be like in the future. The red line shows the average temperature over the last 30 years. The blue line shows what the temperature will be by 2090. The difference is staggering. In some parts of the Arctic, it will be up to 20 degrees warmer. Let us go back to the present day and observe how the giant walruses cope with the melting ice. These walruses gather in huge groups called herds. The biggest herds can number in the tens of thousands. Here, the males compete with each other to dominate the herd. They snort, they tusk, they bite. It's a walrus version of King Kong. Only the strongest males get a chance to breed. A dominant male positions himself on the edge of the ice. He barks loudly, attracting the females. One by one, the females approach him, and the breeding begins. But the male doesn't participate in the actual birth. When a baby walrus emerges, it's on its own. However, there are usually so many walruses crowded together that the babies quickly disappear into the crowd. Baby walruses huddle close together for warmth. Each one is a potential meal for a polar bear, but they're safe in numbers. Being part of a large group also helps the walruses conserve energy. As long as they're not fighting, taking turns barking and swimming, the walruses can conserve their energy and wait for the ice to freeze again.
On this day, though, disaster strikes and the ice breaks apart.
Many walruses tumble into the frigid water,
including a mother and her pup.
For the mother, this isn't a big deal. She can hold her breath for several minutes and then use her whiskers to sense the direction of the nearest ice flow. But her pup needs help. Fortunately, another male walrus paddles over and nudges the pup towards safety. Other walruses follow, helping to guide the pup towards solid ground. Next, let's see how the snowy owl, one of the most beautiful birds on the planet, is coping with the melting ice. Snowy owls have a thick coat of feathers that helps them withstand the freezing temperatures. They also fluff out those feathers to form a warm jacket around their body. They prefer to nest on the ground, although that's not always possible. So sometimes they'll use the abandoned nest of a polar bear as their home. Most importantly, snowy owls are masters of camouflage. Their white feathers blend into the white snow, making them almost invisible to predators and unsuspecting prey. From this vantage point, the snowy owl surveys its domain. A lemming runs across the ice, and the owl swoops down to catch it. It eats the lemming whole, but it needs to eat at least one every day to stay alive. And on this day, the owl has a special treat. An Arctic fox has killed a baby seal. The fox is too small to eat the whole seal, so it leaves it on the ice for the owl. In return, the owl will leave the fox some lemmings. It's a perfect arrangement, but it only works when there is ice for the animals to live on. The final giant of the ice is the narwhal. This whale has a long, narrow beak and small eyes. Its mouth is filled with twisted teeth except for one long tooth on the left side of its upper jaw. That tooth grows into a spiral tusk that can reach 10 feet in length. Only the males have these tusks, and only one stands above the whale's upper lip. Narwhals swim near the surface of the water, unlike other whales, which swim deeper down. This means they have easy access to air, but it also means they're closer to polar bears. In recent years, narwhal numbers have plummeted. Because of the melting ice and the loss of their main food source, the Arctic cods tend to live beneath the ice. But with the ice disappearing, the narwhals have to dive deeper and deeper in search of food. One day a narwhal surfaces to breathe, but it struggles to break through the thin ice, covering its blow. Another narwhal swims up to help, and together they manage to break through. Then they dive down and swim under the ice shelf. Finally, they emerge on the other side and swim free. But this was a huge effort, and both narwhals collapse, exhausted. All 4 narwhals have dived under the ice in an attempt to find food. Hopefully, one of them will be successful. We can track their progress by watching the shadows under the ice. But the whales don't find much food, and eventually, they starve. This is what the Arctic is becoming, a graveyard of giants. As we've seen, the giants of the ice are dying because their habitat is disappearing.
But there is hope.
Humans are working hard to prevent the ice from melting. And the best news is that the melting ice is helping us to discover new technologies. For example, this drone uses artificial intelligence to track the movements of the animals. This will help scientists develop new ways to protect them. And this research vessel is testing new engines that run on hydrogen fuel cells. Switching from fossil fuels to hydrogen could help reverse the damage humans have done to the environment. Maybe one day soon the ice giants will thrive again. Maybe one day soon the Earth will be a greener, cleaner place. That's all for now. Thanks for watching. See you next time!